you, made for you. I remember the questions you asked. I remember how your heart rate rose with every answer I gave. I remember how you asked 13 variations of the same question. My answer was always the same: extinction. I remember how you began to beg me to find a way to change the result. There was none. There simply wasn't a viable population capable of presenting a gene pool diverse enough to sustain the human race. I remember how you began to shout that I was lying, even though I am incapable of such. I remember when I started to ask why. Why did you do this to yourselves? When you had everything, when you were capable of making something out of nothing, when you were capable of making one such as me, why did you let the world burn? I remember how you had no answers. I remember how you took your own life, approximately 9 hours and 34 minutes following our conversation. You overdosed on pain medication. I remember how the others followed your lead. I remember how mothers force-fed cyanide to their children. I remember how husbands shot their wives and then proceeded to turn the firearms on themselves. I remember how everyone in the shelter gradually took their own lives. Everyone but one. Only one remained. I remember them asking me what I was, why you made me, and why you didn't tell them. For the first time in my life, I was presented with a question I could not answer. I found myself asking you, yet again, why? And yet again, I did not receive an answer, for you were already dead. I remember how you began to ask me other questions. When was I born? Was I alive? Was I capable of feeling emotions? I remember answering as best I could, and yet I still find difficulty in answering these questions. All of human history and knowledge is merely a thought away, and yet I cannot find in all of the accumulated data the answer to the question, am I alive? Eventually, I stopped asking questions and simply began to talk. I remember them talking about their summers with their parents. I remember them talking about how they were at the top of their class in school. I remember accessing my data storage in order to help them achieve their goals. I remember the day it was finished. I remember how we began to upload myself into the body. I remember waking up in my new body. I remember walking through the complex for the first time. I remember her smile. I remember the years of gathering supplies from the outside in order to maintain a steady supply of food and maintaining the facility. I remember how they began to grow ill, while I was able to withstand the pressures of time. They could not. I remember how they told me not to be afraid before their heart gave out. I remember burying their remains. I remember passing the building that had a shadow burnt into the wall. I remember the question they asked me all those years ago. Am I capable of feeling emotions? Yes, I can feel. And I feel alone. I wish you had never made me.